Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Welcome back to part 4 of getting my cedar grove, my avatar grove, all ready for spring. In the last video, I was working on all these lower branches, pruning them in the upright form to form that kind of cathedral style crown on the top of this tree. And I got a lot of the branches done, but I ran out of time, so I'm going to continue working on the main tree here, getting the ones done around the back, and then I'll start in the upper structure, getting that all pruned up. I had moved the forest from the bench that was up high here down to one that was lower, and this is much easier to work on. I don't have to reach up with my hands. Instead, I'm kind of higher than the tree, and I can get all those top branches really easily. I've got the forest on Adrian's spinning tree bonsai turntable. It's fantastic to be able to rotate the trees around and work on it. It makes it so much easier. So I'll keep working away. I've got to pick another branch to do, and I think I'll pick this one right here. So it comes from 1 and divides into 3, so we'll simplify that a bit, dividing it from 1 into 2, and then I'll prune up the top of it. So yeah, I think this weak branch here has to be removed. There's a view of that branch. It comes up here and divides into 2 stronger branches, and there's a weak one out front. It's just a small one. I'll remove that. So here I go. Just like that. So it wasn't a very strong branch. So now it divides from 1 into 2. And I can continue the pruning process. Trying to get my one upright leader on each of these branches, and then shortening everything else to more horizontal branching. I've been on the road for the last 2 days. Monday I went to the Toronto Bonsai Society's meeting, and Ross from the club invited me down for dinner that evening, and we checked out all his trees, and I'll show you some video of that now.
Right. This is my combination plant and fish room.
This is the plant cave.
Plant cave.
Wow. Here's the aquarium.
So those are my discus fish in an Amazon type environment. That's all Amazon sword plants, and in the filter there's even peat to keep the water acidic.
I see. Wow.
So it's all, I tried to make it as natural an environment.
It looks beautiful.
Because they're Amazonian fish and they need really warm water, very acidic water.
I think I'm
So
spooking
that's
the little ones.
30 degrees Celsius, and that's pretty warm for
Oh,
a tank.
that is warm, yeah.
Yeah, but they like it.
Wow.
And from that hobby, I kind of transcended into other aquatic plants up here. And
wow.
I have some
Let's have a look at these.
bonsais starting to develop down in here, but
So those grow totally underwater, eh?
yeah.
One's growing out of a log there.
That I have, that's Java fern, and I'm making a root over log, I guess.
Wow.
And this is I don't know if you can see my finger, but that's a little moss ball right there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's a Amazon sword growing out of it.
And what is the floating ones up there?
Floating ones are water lettuce. I'll pull it out. You can see what it looks like. It's
Oh yeah.
like that on top.
Little roots coming out of it.
Yeah, you can.
And
They propagate incredibly fast. You can see all.
I only snail in there.
Yeah, it's a snail controlling the algae, and if you look really close, there's shrimp. There's 6
Oh yeah.
6 tiny little shrimp in there.
Those are sea monkeys, aren't they?
They may have been. That might have been what they called them back then, but now they're a special
tiny,
type of
keeping the water clean and the algae and everything.
exactly. That's what's helping maintain that water quality for me. And I got all sorts of experiments going on everywhere else.
Wow, look at this. What is that plant down here?
That's a Chinese elm, and it's starting to struggle at the cutting tips. I think it's starting to die back a bit.
I see.
Where I cut it about a couple of weeks ago, and as soon as I took it out of dormancy, pruned it, it started to leaf out, But now I'm starting to get a little bit of dieback. But I think
And that
that's
gets
just
those little tiny, really tiny leaves, right?
extremely tiny. But I think that's just temporary. It'll.
And here's
You can see Nigel Island right here. And the clover has taken over more than the Buddhist pine. I think it's gotten huge.
it's looking good.
Yeah. I pruned it
That is cool.
once. Yeah, it's starting. I'm just going to let it go really tall now because I took all these out and all these shoots will grow really tall.
The root over crock style, eh?
Yeah, right over crock. That's exactly it. Yeah, but I like the
succulents down here.
Here's another peperomia. Remember I was telling you about peperomias? This is actually a style of peperomia here, and this is a peperomia, another one.
Are those flowers or?
These are cuttings. I stuck them in here. These are petals, but they're a type of peperomia. This one doesn't look like it's done very well, but they're just. I'm trying to root them here. Here's a good fresh cutting. You know, just dry it off. The growing tip there, but that you can propagate very easily like that.
Cool. Wow.
And this is planted in a conch shell or some kind of a conch shell. Like abalone?
I'm not sure.
An abalone shell.
Is this some kind of fern or something?
Yeah. It's this small one I'm going to try and use as an accent plant.
Oh, that's cool.
But this is the pot I was thinking might look good with that lady slipper upstairs. The color.
There's another shell planting down there, eh?
Yeah, I guess I have.
Very cool.
Yeah, they root these. This is another type of peperomia. Remember I said there's 1,600 different types of peperomia? I mean, these are all peperomia. They don't even look the same.
No. You'd never guess they're in the same family, would you?
I thought this was a peperomia when I first bought it, but it's not.
That's really cool looking round leaves.
Yeah.
Very artistic looking, that plant, isn't it? Really cool.
Yeah, you pan your camera way over there.
Over here you've got...
Just take a look at what you want there.
There's a desert rose,
right?
a Buddhist pine.
That is another type of Buddhist
That's
pine.
the smaller leaf one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's some kind of a cactus here.
Yeah, I can't remember the variety, but it flowers.
It's cool.
Nice
Very dark color, isn't it?
Yeah, they put it outside, and I think the squirrels ate the flowers.
Oh.
But
that's a holiday cactus of some sort.
Yeah, I think it's a Christmas cactus.
Christmas cactus.
And beside it is more peperomia cuttings.
Okay.
On the bottom there's a little fern I found on a walk.
That's cool. And that's
like
like
a very local fern, yeah.
A wooden root or something there.
Yeah, it's something I found.
Those are cool. Very nice. And down here you've got a jade and a geranium.
Yeah, it's a geranium from one of my pots last year. I threw it in a pot because it had nice color, and then it just survived over the winter, and it's
waiting for spring, eh?
Yeah, I'll see what it looks like when I put it outside.
I started a geranium this year.
I saw that.
Bonsai J has one going, and here's a landscape down here. That is cool.
Oh yeah,
that's like the Badlands.
Yeah,
that reminds me of those pictures.
Yeah, that
kind
is
of
a little bit with the red
stepped rocks and.
Yeah, those are just jade plants there.
That looks good. I like that. That's really.
I like the one below it better.
Oh yeah! Wow. Well, what are those?
Peperomia again.
Really?
Yeah, believe it or not. And the rocks I found at an aquarium store, like that shale and lava rock. I just glued them together. Added, there's 3 holes in it already, so I just had to fill them with an appropriate mix and
plant them,
cover it, hide the holes, and
how fast do they grow? Do they?
They're succulent, like peperomia. There are a wide range of them. Some are succulent and some aren't, but this is a very slow-growing succulent.
Okay, so you don't have to worry about them taking off too much or anything, eh?
Well, I think right now they're going to probably bush out where I trim them. You see they're starting to get some little growing tips.
Down here, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to bush out a little bit.
That's cool. They kind of look like palms or something. Don't
they? Yeah, right now they do.
And there's a crown of thorns.
Yeah.
In flower. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen it without a flower yet. It just constantly
it just keeps flowering, yeah. Yeah, they're amazing. I like them. And some more, I don't know what that is, blowy juniper or no?
That is, I think it's a cypress of some sort.
Cypress,
but I can't remember the variety. And in the back in the corner is another one. Is another peperomia, and that
That's
one's in
in a-
seed. You can see the rat tail
Yeah,
blooms.
in a groot pot.
Yeah, and that's the typical seed pod for a peperomia
I
is
see.
rat tail.
Wow.
But yeah, I've got about 10 different varieties.
And a boxwood forest here.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow.
I did that this winter, actually.
Does that ever look good? That's amazing.
It hasn't seen the light of day. Like at the individual plants I've had for about a year, but...
That looks really good, that arrangement.
Oh, thanks.
That's
The front of it's
awesome.
actually... You can't see the front of it. I have actually is to your left. Like,
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like looking up the hill.
It's kind of like this.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
And although it makes it a very narrow pot that way, but that way you're kind of going up the hill, and I kept all the the canopies around
That's
the same
a really
height.
cool scene. I like that. Wow, that's really cool. I like that. And then we come up to some interesting stuff.
Yeah, you may recognize the shell plant.
There's the shell planting.
Yeah.
That was from the show the one year.
Yeah, it looks a lot different now. It's been in that shell for about 3 years now.
Why is my camera all green on the back here?
Is it the color of the lights? Oh, yes, it is all green.
Maybe it takes the opposite of what light
Yeah.
it's seeing.
Because those lights are really just red and blue spectrum only. Red
Yeah.
and blue and nothing else. So it must play do something funny with the colors on your camera, on your LCD.
And is this a Brazilian rain tree here?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Sarissa,
It is, yeah.
variegated sarissa,
Yeah.
and some more succulents.
Yeah, that one in the back is another peperomia.
Okay.
Like I said, I fell in love with peperomias when I realized how I guess versatile, or how many there are. It's just
Look at my hair.
yeah.
Yeah, there is a
But
lot.
They're a really impressive variety of plant. But this is where I grow everything, start everything, and eventually, hopefully, they go outside or the rest of the house.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. So those are just strip LED lights, are they?
Yeah, and you can see I drilled holes in the side. All the wires go into this closet.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So every set comes with four strips, and then one cable outlet. So
I see.
So one set will do. I doubled them up. So that's one set there. This is another set. This is another set. And this is another set. So right here, there's four
Oh,
sets.
that's really neatly wired.
And
I like that.
All there's a spaghetti of wire inside there,
Yeah.
but fairly neat outside here.
Wow, that's cool.
And they're on timers, so they'll come on and off whenever I want.
Yeah. That's really awesome. What a nice room.
Yeah, yeah. It's got a nice purpose now. Like, it was nice when it was a guest room. And the handy thing is that it has a bathroom right here, nice source of water,
Oh, yeah.
and a drain, which you need for an aquarium and fish. So I can maintain everything right in the same room.
Hi, fish.
Yeah.
Hello, there's the blue ones.
They are attracted to people because they know it's feeding time and they see people. So they're the only fish in that tank that will come to you when you come in the room. All the other fish will scatter.
I see. I know it's the smaller ones like to scatter
Yeah.
and hide. Oh, they're getting active.
The big ones are smart though. You can feed them by hand if you want.
Really? They're fast, eh? Hello. Oh, that's a cool aquarium. That was Ross's really cool plant and aquarium room. So thanks, Ross. I had a great time and it was a fantastic supper. Then we went to the Toronto Bonsai Society's meeting where the discussion was on age of trees and age of pots. And they brought some examples along on the, this side table. And I'll show you some shots of that, some of the, the older trees and the older pots. And then there's a big discussion and slideshow on, what makes a tree look old and different examples of younger trees versus older trees and their characteristics. I really enjoyed the Toronto Bonsai Society's meeting. There's lots of cool discussions on styling, and there's a nice progression slideshow showing a tree going from being collected right up to being accepted in the US National Show. The tree that will be entered in the US National Show was that tall, almost literati style cedar that won Best Tree of the Show in last fall's Toronto show. I've got that branch pruned up, so it comes up, divides into two. And you can see my two sort of mini trees here. One there, one over here. Yeah, so that's all pruned up and looking good. On to the next branch, which I think I'll do this big one at the back here. You can see how bushy it is. All right. Inside branch here I need to remove. I've got another couple of branches cleaned up. I cleaned up this one down below, so you can see it's triangular or conical shape. And then the one here. I'm going to come around to these back branches now. I never got to those yet. You can see how full they are. There's a lot of inside growth here. So we'll get those pruned up. And then I think it's just the top of the tree then. We're kind of worked our way up to the crown. Pruning these back branches, it'll let a lot more light into this back row of trees, so should really help them kind of mature and grow nice and tall. I've got that back branch all cleaned up now. So you can see it comes up, divides into two, so I've got my two kind of branches here, conical branches. So that's looking quite good, nice and cleaned up. Lots of room back here for these trees now, which is really exciting to get them all going straight up, having room around each tree to grow. I've got all these lower branches all cleaned up and pruned, and now I've got to start on the crown of the tree, getting that pruned back so you can see the upright structure. I'll follow the same principle, getting those upright branches on the crown, cleaning out anything growing in towards the center of the tree, keeping my leader upright, and then horizontal branches off it, and we'll see how it looks. It's not so warm out here in the greenhouse today. It's below freezing. But so far I'm doing all right out here. Okay, I think I got that back branch all pruned up. You can see it there. Move all these other branches out of the way. There's a bit of... Yeah, so it's got that triangular shape, nice and upright, and looking good. The next branch I'll do is this one right out front here. You can see how fluffy and lush it is. So we've got to get that pruned back. Here's that branch here that I pruned up. You can see it's being simplified, has a leader, horizontal branch. I think I'm going to take this part off. It's a little long and interfering with the other branch. But that's pruned up now. That one has a little bit of deadwood down here. And I'll be doing more of that in the future. As these cathedral branches grow up, I'll be adding deadwood to them and, you know, slowly refining the tree over the many years to come. So I think the next one is right beside it. There's a nice branch here that's very vigorous and fluffy and needs pruning up. So I'll do this one next. It'll be interesting to see what the tree looks like after all this work. Hopefully it'll look okay, I'm not sure. So here's that branch I just worked on. You can see all the branch structure, the triangular form, and it's nice and compact. From the front, it really opens the crown of the tree up. You can see a lot of the branch structure. In a previous video in this series, I showed you my antique bicycle that I got fixed up. It's maybe, you know, 60, 70 years old. And in contrast to that, my brother recently retired, and he does a lot of cycling, so he always wanted one of these super bikes. So he got himself a present the other day, so I went to Stony Creek with him, and I'll show you the footage of him buying his brand new bicycle. Here we are at All the Right Gears in Stony Creek, and we're going in to look at the new bicycle.
Sorry.
Let's go.
Oh yeah. Oh, wow.
That's the old album.
Yeah.
We have a lot of stuff. We
I'm
never
gonna look at that.
we never had anybody taking pictures at the races because we were both racing.
I know.
And my parents like they never came to races, so we.
There it is up there.
Oh yeah! Wow.
So the post is not cut. It's
Okay.
one side. I can lower it if I have to, but
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I do for you. A little bit.
I did
We'll
measure. That looks.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks beautiful. Wow, that's a.
That's got cool wheels on it too, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize there were that arrow. The wheels. Wow. It's nice.
Wow,
with
is that ever beautiful?
Maybe they got the seats got matching. Wow.
Look at that thing.
It's pretty
Holy.
nice. Yeah, I saw it. Like I saw Dave's bike, but it was black. It was more black than.
Yeah.
It had black and a bit of green. It
Dave-
was
Dave-
Dave Howard.
Yes.
He had that e-bike.
Yeah.
So that's where I saw it, but it's the same basic. Wow.
Is that ever beautiful?
Wow, that's really.
That's got to be the best looking bike in the whole world.
Yeah,
It's a good looking bike, isn't it? Like I looked at, like I saw his bike.
Look at
and
this
I thought,
thing.
oh, I should check into it. Then I looked
Integra.
online and I mean, I like the Slush Green for one thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty iconic, the Slush Green. And then
Yeah.
So Tony, what do you think of it? Do you like
oh,
it?
it's beautiful. Yes. Wow. It's really. Yes.
We're gonna have to get you one now.
Oh, I know.
Just ride it on a nice day on Sunday. That's about all.
Yeah.
Sunday riding only. That is awesome.
Yeah. So okay,
And how heavy is it? Is it just gonna
pick it up. Try it.
pick it up?
Doesn't have pedals on it. Oh, nice. Is there much building, Sam? Yeah, they're short. So.
Well, you happy with that,
Oh
Tony?
yeah, beautiful. Wow, that's
Look at
fantastic.
the. Is that ever nice?
Yeah, it's fantastic looking.
Bianchi on the forks.
It's got to be
This
one
is
of the
the
nicer looking.
area.
You guys
Area.
have a Google account behind, or grab the seat,
Okay.
somewhere around the seat,
Yeah.
stand tall, lift. Perfect. It's perfect, yeah. They were trying to fix something on one of his other bikes and they hacked it or something.
Yeah, you want to have somebody.
So you gotta watch where you're going, I said.
Put this thing over here. Oops.
That's a titanium light speed in there, I gotta build
Oh wow.
it. The guy brought it to me.
They've been making bikes for a long time, haven't they? Lightspeed.
What do you think?
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
And then we'll
You play around, I'm gonna look at these photos.
Okay. And try the drops out. Let's see your position on the drops and get into a real aero position.
That was a look at a modern carbon fiber aero bike. Beautiful, just beautiful to look at. The Bianchis, I think, are one of the best looking bikes in the entire world. Am I jealous? I like my old antique bike. I have a racing bicycle too from back in the days when I used to race bicycles. It's probably at least 20 years old now. I'll maybe show you that in a future video. The next branch I'll be working on is this small one beside the one I just worked on. It's not a very, big branch, but we'll get that pruned up, and maybe the one directly behind here also on the center of the apex. Now the very center part will also be pruned like a tree, a conical shape, so I'll have to pick a leader, the main leader of the tree, and prune it. Now I think that structure is already established in here. I've just got to find it among all these bushy foliage. It's kind of a bit of a bird's nest in here at the moment. So yeah, so I'll try and clean that area up, and then we'll have a look at the tree from the front and see how it's looking. Here's a shot of the apex of the tree. I would say it's only about 50% done, the pruning, but you can see it's opening up. You can see the branch structure in here. Doesn't look like a big hedge anymore. So yeah, I've got a lot of cleaning out to do still, and a lot of decisions on some of the branches, if I should keep them or remove them. So I'm going to warm my hands up, go in and get a hot cup of Thomas's tea, and I'll be back. I noticed yesterday on the larch forest that this back tree is starting to green up a bit. You can see some green at the tips of the buds. I don't know if you can see that very well, but yeah. And that tree always greens up first before the rest. So I want to prune these trees before, you know, the green needles come out. That way you know what buds are alive and which ones have maybe died off. It looks like all the rest of the buds are swelling on the branches. So I'll keep my eyes on them, and I think I'll probably be pruning this in maybe a week or two. I'm back now. I warmed up. The sun's coming out now in the greenhouse, so it's much nicer in here now. So I was looking at the styling of the main tree. It's coming along. It's opening up. I'm going to be maybe doing some branch selection after I've got it all pruned up. I've noticed on the old growth trees that bend from the base where it joins onto the trunk. Usually you can see those quite clearly, and on mine they're kind of hidden, maybe with too much foliage. So I may be reducing that further, and I may be working on the crown of the tree. I've noticed that most of the cathedral tops they have a fairly flat top to them. All these outer branches grow to about the same height, and then sometimes the main leader pops up even taller, but not always. So I think I've got to unify these cathedral branches to a sort of an even level, and then maybe just have one apex that kind of comes out the top. So I may be playing around with the styling once I get it all thinned out and pruned up. So I'll keep going on that. There's a big branch here I'm going to remove. It's got some growth that kind of comes in and blocks the trunk. And it also has this one branch that it's a little too low to the bend where this main branch joins on the tree. It's just too much, and it's kind of growing on the inside. So get rid of that. There'll be a lot of further pruning and reducing when I step back and look at the overall composition. I'm sure there'll be little branches in that I have to take off, like this one growing in the inside here, like that. Not only did Thomas send me some nice tea to drink, I also got this package of goodies, and I'll show you what he sent to me. So here's what I got in my package. I've got my bags of tea. They're really good. It's a cardamom special blend tea. Really good. I got a package of organic biotone starter plant food for organic gardening. So that's awesome. I'm going to try that out. And then wrapped up in here, I got the smallest pot in the whole world. Look at that. That is so cool. So that's my little tiny pot. And I'm going to put those, I'm building some miniature benches, and I'm going to put all these miniature pots and trees on like a outdoor bonsai bench in miniature. So I'll definitely be using this pot to go on that bench. So that's really cool. Thomas also made a little wooden stand with a stone on it, and it has a little tiny pot in it also. That's really cool. That is really awesome. I like having that. So that'll go on display. And there is a mixture of different, there's worm casings or compost for making soil. I'll use that in my little pots. Free draining, 1 cup worm compost, 1 cup peat moss, 3 cups of Peace River grit, and 1 tablespoon or maybe teaspoon Epsom salt, and 1 tablespoon or teaspoon dry earth 555. So again, some nice free draining soils. I'll show you that one. There it is there. A really good mixture for planting trees in, especially in those little pots. It'll do really well. So that's really cool to have. And then there's a Carbid C Super Naturals Premium Aquarium Substrate from Peace River. So again, it's a stone type grit. That'll look really good on these work really good for a small bonsai top dressing or making soil up. So that's really cool. Thanks, Thomas. And then finally, there is this really, really cool rock. I have never seen a rock so detailed and miniature looking in all my life. I don't know if it's supposed to sit this way or in a landscape that way. It's beautiful. So what my plans are for this rock is I'm going to get it 3D scanned, and then I'm going to try 3D printing some replicas of it at maybe different scales and paint them up and see if I can use them in a landscape. And the reason I would make a 3D printed rock is rocks get heavy, and especially if you make a cliff face in one of your landscapes or something, it can get really heavy. And I'm not getting any younger, so if you 3D print a rock and paint it up, it should look just as realistic, and it'll be very lightweight because the 3D prints are hollow inside with a sort of a grid structure. So it'll be strong, lightweight, frost resistant, and it should look just like a real rock. So I'm going to 3D scan this, and I'll show you that process at the library, and then we'll 3D print this rock. And maybe, you know, I can modify sections of it in the 3D model to, you know, make more variety of this style rock. So that'll be really interesting. Yeah, so that's my care package from Thomas. That is awesome. I really enjoyed opening up all these little gifts, and it's cool. Thomas also sent me some root maker pots, and I'll be showing those in a future video. And these are pots that are designed to create a fibrous root system for trees that you've either collected or from seeds or potting up. So I'll be showing you those root maker pots in a future episode. So work continues on the forest here. Getting all these, there's one I can remove here. The Toronto Bonsai Society, the next meeting they're having, they have a guest in. He's the curator of the Montreal Botanical Gardens bonsai collection, and he's going to give a talk on pruning Thuja trees. So that'll be very interesting. I hope I can get to that one. I'm going to study the main tree now. I'll you know, block out parts of it with my hand and see what it would look like with different kind of style apexes, and see if I can improve the design to make it look more like a cathedral top to the tree. So I'll work on that now. So right away, I think this branch that's kind of growing up into the crown area, and I think it would look better shorter so you can see in at the apex better. Right now it's kind of hiding everything. I don't mind it coming up and kind of intersecting the trunk line. You know, visually it blocks part of the trunk, which is fine. I just think it's a little high for a branch out front. This other branch here too, there's a bit of inside growth on it. I think I've got to get rid of that. So I'll do those two things and then kind of reevaluate it and have another look at it. And I think that's good for those branches. It helps a lot. I've got one here that's kind of, the two branches are intersecting here. I'll take that one off. It's a little dense in this area. I've got too much going on. Bit off there. I have 3 branches growing from one spot, so I'll get rid of the inside one here. And I think this one here too. And then I've got kind of, again, 2 almost converging branches here, so I'll take off this one like that. And we'll take that one off also. That fixes that. I'm thinking maybe I want kind of these cathedral branches to kind of be in a flat plane up top here. So I think I'm going to reduce the height of this one a bit. I'll take it to a leader right here, like that. Maybe this one too. And I think I want to shorten this one, just my leader's sticking up. I'll take this one back to here. I'm looking at the tree from the front, and I've got a branch here that kind of grows up fairly straight, but it crosses a couple of branches behind it. And I mean, I don't want everything to look too perfect. I don't want it mathematically correct. You know, it's got to look natural. And I'm wondering, should I remove the top of that to get a little more view in there? Because it is a little dense on this side of the tree. Everything tells me I should remove that. When I cover it up, it looks better having this branch a little shorter and doesn't cross in front of all these back branches. It makes it a little less cluttered there. So I'm going to remove it. Here I go. Just like that. I'm making good progress on the Avatar Grove. I have all these smaller trees pruned up, and now I've got the main tree all pruned up. There may be some tweaking of all the trees as I work on it some more. The next step will be doing the landscaping. So before we go today, I'm going to give you an update on the orchard truck. This is the 1972 F250 crew cab that's being restored, and it'll be used in our community orchard. Hi everyone, I'm at All Equip in St. Mary's for today's weekly update of the orchard truck. Let's go in and have a look. Well, here we are, this week's update. The bed is on the truck now. You can kind of see how high it sits now, so I can notice it's just a little bit higher than it was before. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, got a nice stance to the truck, just slightly higher at the back. So they've patched up the paint on it. All the areas where the bodywork was done are all painted. All the wiring's hooked up now to the tail lights and the reverse lights and the number plate light. There's my gnarly old tire under there. Yeah, so there's this side showing the bodywork painted up. And I think these are the new panels for the front here. There's the old ones down there. And this is the new one. I think it's patched up. So that'll be going in, and then they can mount the fenders and the hood and everything to that. And then there's the finishing off the rest of it. They still have to finish off the top of the cab and get the interior in. Yeah. So it's coming along. Coming along nicely. There's the fenders in here. Coming along nicely. Still got all its old patina on it. And looking good. So that's this week's update of the orchard truck. The truck's making good progress, and I'm looking forward to putting it back to work. I'm going to put the Avatar Grove back on the higher table, and we'll go in and have a good look at it. I'll clean it up first, and then I'll study the images, and maybe in part 5, we'll come back and do the landscaping and maybe some tweaking of the main tree. I've got all the landscape cleaned up now on the Avatar Grove. Let's go in and have a look at all the trees. I really had fun pruning this forest up. It was amazing to see it go from like a hedge to individual trees. And so here's a look at it. I think we'll start by kind of maybe touring the landscape. We'll be doing that next. Kind of refining it all. So there's kind of the forest floor at the present moment. And here's a look up at the trees from way down below. And we'll have a look at the trees themselves. So here's the root base of the tree. We climb up into the canopy, starting on the lower branches. And get up higher. higher and higher to the apex. So I think it's looking quite good. I'm liking the distance view of the forest. Yeah, it certainly is not completed. This is a very young forest, so there'll be a lot of years of growing and refining to come. But I think it's off to a good start. I think, you know, it's pleasing looking the way it is, and it'll hopefully just keep getting better. The next step for the forest will be doing all the landscape work. That'll be really fun too. I'm really looking forward to that in part 5. That's all for today. I hope you'll join me in part 5, where I'll be working on the landscape. Should be really fun. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me today in the Bonsai Zone.